Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids and of all sizes and shapes, welcome to Best of the Year 2021, an annual assessment of the greatness that was the previous year. My name is Ryan, and I will host what is tonight's preview show, a show that was necessary because all of the other shows were too long, and so we tried to get some work done in this episode, and in fact made this episode the longest of them all. So you... Audience, you are welcome. I will be one of your mini hosts and special guests for this. I think I can call myself a special guest right away. One special guest is off the docket, and it's me. Helping me out, may I introduce to you the Casio keyboard, Cassiopeia, Ass Grass or Cass, nobody rides for free, Big Mouth Billy Cass. Cass rules everything around me. Dollar bill, y'all. It's Cassie.
Yes, thank you. I am here. And thank you for reading all my names, as this is the only way I can be addressed. Thank you so much for that.
There's one name that you don't like being addressed by. I heard that you just got out of prison because two people at an airport called you Jason Derulo.
Yeah.
And you beat the shit out of those people.
You listen, they sang a little bit off key with it too, and that's what really pissed me off. So they had it coming. Honestly, I told the judge this, they had it coming, and they didn't listen. So,
and I heard that you have brought with you to open the show an A-list elite celebrity. I am so excited to find out who this is. Who is it?
Oh, this is the one, the only. Have you heard of her, Caitlin McDougal? Oh, I'm so sorry for. She didn't do her vocal warm-ups before she came here.
Okay,
Hello.
you promised A-list celebrity, and we get a coughing Caitlin.
The Caitlin McDougal is what I have found for you today. Listen, A-list celebrities are expensive, Ryan. I don't know if you know this. Did you know this?
I'm on A-list, so I am a celebrity.
That's true. How much does it cost for a 2.5-hour cameo from like Gilbert Gottfried?
It's like at least $50, and I just don't have it.
And Caitlin was 40, so I understand that.
Yeah, she gave me a deal.
We're going to start by previewing. This is the show that is dropping February 3rd. Caitlin, you are hosting the 2021 mixtape. Now, we're going to kick out some albums pretty soon in a bracket of a bunch of albums that none of us have ever heard of before and don't understand because they're too complicated. Was this a better year for singles than it was albums?
Actually, this year I feel like I listened to more albums this year than most years. So I would say it was a great year for albums. People got their creative juices flowing in that quarantine and were like, yeah, let's pop off with some good ass music. And that's what they brought. And I listened to a lot of it.
This is your first time hosting the mixtape. What special wrinkles are you going to bring in to mess with everybody?
I'm going to bring in lots of good wrinkles, ones that are on sheets and blankets, and also skin wrinkles.
You have a lot of wrinkled blankets?
Yeah, I do, because I need to do laundry.
That's a whole drawer for you. That's the show that's coming up on February 3rd. Next week, January 27th, we have the Oscar draft hosted by Cassie. Caitlin, recently you and I were on a superhero show where Cassie hosted a draft. Do you remember how that went?
It went. It was great, Cassie. It was real good.
Did she at any point say that it's the person's turn correctly?
Cassie knows what serpentine means. Yes. I have a gun to my head right now, but Cassie knows what a serpentine means.
Listen, nobody drafts serpentine. It's too confusing. This is an outdated system, and I don't know why we still use it here. Who understands what serpentine means? Throw it out the window.
Super cool that we could get a glimpse as to Cassie's argument in front of her city's council right now. Cassie, you're the host of the Oscar draft. You famously gotten second place in a draft before, I believe after choosing Detective Pikachu as one of your movies.
Yeah. I was brought on as the pity help, and I ended up taking second place. So
you beat Greg and Mike. Joining us now, who lost to Cassie choosing Detective Pikachu, is Greg. Greg, are you there?
I am here. There's nothing that we do that I'm worse at than the Oscar draft. I pick like movies that I like but nobody ever talked about, or things that have no chance of getting nominated. And last year I just got clowned. I mean, I got extra picks and it didn't help. My only goal is just to have a good time, Ryan, and that's why I'm a loser.
Okay, and your terribleness makes us all have a good time. We appreciate that.
I think so, yeah. I'm leaving a lot of Oscar noms out there for everybody else to scoop up.
Let's do this real quick. Caitlin, name a movie that you think might get nominated from this year. Just any movie.
That might get nominated for the Oscars?
Yep.
Oh, geez. I'm going to go with Shang-Chi.
Oh, geez.
Oh, okay. It's possible. It's in the slightest sense possible. Cassie, can you name a movie that might get one nomination?
Detective Pikachu, the second one.
Greg, your biggest movie of the year is going to clean up, right?
Oh, Dune?
Dune.
Oh.
Guys, there's a movie.
Yeah. You have to remember a movie like Dune because it's like, it's probably not going to win Best Picture, right? But it's what we call the loudies, all the sound stuff, cinematography. Like there's so many different areas where it could potentially best score,
best use of sand.
Yeah. Whereas like if you pick like sometimes you think of a movie like Licorice Pizza, and maybe that's going to get a bunch of nominations, but it's definitely not going to get those technical ones, and so you might not get the same like big slug of Dune slugs
Gross
of, like,
pizza.
Nominations.
Yeah, girls, you weren't paying attention to a single thing Greg said, but if you did, you might do better in the Oscar draft.
Again, I lose every single year, so something like there's a disconnect there. Maybe don't take my advice.
That show is coming out January 27th. Coming out February 17th. For, I think, the 8th year in a row is Century of the Year. Now, we did it a little bit differently last year, where we had 10 teams, something like that, compete. Greg, you lost that as well.
Yeah.
Actually, you were on multiple teams, so you lost that multiple times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Cassie and Caitlin, you as well, were on multiple teams, and so lost multiple times.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
allow me to introduce to you last year's winner, I believe called the Chapmen. Mike and McKenna are here on the stage.
We're here to sweep again if we're on the same team. If not, you're going down, Mike.
Yeah. Loyalty only goes as far as it doesn't go no mo.
That's the Chapman part.
We've been out of school for a long time.
Yeah. It's kind of embarrassing that that's still your nickname. So just like Greg gave Oscar draft advice, what can you tell Cassie, Caitlin, and Greg about how to win Century of the Year? Something that nobody's ever done before.
Be in
Be
the
funnier?
world. Oh, yeah, okay, so the two hints. Be in the world so you know what's going on, and be funnier so you have some commentary about the things we have to talk about, you guys.
Damn. I thought you guys were going to be modest about this, but I don't know why I thought that.
Be cripplingly addicted to 17 different news podcasts.
They were talking so much smack last year. I don't know why you would think they were going to be modest. They were like burning us all down and then just absolutely dancing on our graves.
And it worked.
The most arrogant two people and set them forth in the world.
What helps? We have a private podcast called Century of the Week that we do every Saturday night where we just do Century Club while recapping the week.
Is that hosted by Paul Tompkins?
Yes. And the two of us are the guests.
That sounds like an awesome show. Okay, so that's just the start. That's before we get to any brackets. We have the Oscar draft on January 27th, hosted by Cassie. The 2021 mixtape on February 3rd, hosted by Caitlin. On February 17th, we are doing the Century of the Year, hosted by me, with all 5 of you nutballs competing. But on February 10th, hosted by Taylor, we have the 2021 Album of the Year. Right now, we have over 16 albums contending. We're going to take a break. When we come back, most of them are going to die. So starting last year, we took the bracket of 16 albums that the critics gave us, and we took out 8 in the preview show, just so we didn't have to do 16 albums on the album show. That's fucking insane. And it takes legitimately 3 hours. What everyone just found out, all of my panelists on the show, is that they now have the responsibility, the right, the patriotic duty to take one of their favorite albums of the year and replace it on the bracket. And they can do this basically carte blanche. If you cut Adele, you might hear some screaming, but it is within your right. Okay? Mike, you have the first pick. So
Yes.
What is your off-bracket album of the year?
It is Sydney Sprague's Maybe I'll See You at the End of the World. I think if you like Phoebe Bridgers, if you like Lucy Dacus, if you like Boy Genius, you're going to love Sydney Sprague. Her Her single "I Refuse to Die" is one of the funniest 2-minute of sad girl song writing about how the world is ending. And what if you just say, no, I'm not going to die just because the world is around me. And it's been in my head all year long. I'm going to kick off one of the most forgettable albums on this list. I listened to it a bunch of times, and I could not tell you what genre of music Wolf Alice Blue Weekend is. Kick rocks, Wolf Alice.
Does anybody want to explain Wolf Alice to us?
I couldn't figure it out either. I was also ready to knock this one because it's incomprehensible.
It's like rock. I mean, it's like alternative or rock. I don't think it's a terrible album. It's one of the least interesting albums in this bracket, I think.
I thought it was one of the most 90s albums on the bracket, and you are all directly insulting me by what you're saying. But Wolf Alice is gone. Sydney Sprague might
Sydney
be
Sprague,
on the bracket. Greg, you're up next.
Okay, I am so shocked that this band was not on the list. And their album is definitely like my favorite album of the year and the one I've listened to more than any others. The band is Churches, and the album, the name just totally eluded me, but Screen Violence. And Churches is like a band I've heard of for a long time. This is actually the first album of theirs that I've listened to.
Oh,
so
shit.
much energy. It's sort of a cinematic feel, which is obviously Screen Violence, like what they were going for. I listened to it again and again. For me, albums are always like, can you work out while listening to them? You can work out while listening to this album, so that's nice. When, Mike, you said like an ultimately forgettable album, I was shocked at how forgettable I found this album. But Adele's 30, I could not connect with this album on any level. Every song bored the pants off me. I hate spoken word parts. There's one in like every single song. It did nothing for me, and I don't care to listen to it much anymore. Whereas Churches, that's Screen Violence.
They got some hooks.
I mean, Adele is the 15th seed, so it feels like everyone agrees with you, Greg, without agreeing with you. You know, like is she on there just because? Well, we got to write Adele.
It's Adele.
I mean, when her album came out, I rushed to Apple Music to listen to it, and within like half of one song, I was like, I don't like this.
The most memorable track is the section where her little kid is asking if they'll still love them even once they're divorced.
Yeah,
it is the spoken word part you hate, Greg, is the most memorable part of this album.
Yeah, but I think Churches, I think it's going to be fun. I think that this is like a dark horse candidate to potentially do some damage.
Okay, I am up next. And I am going to, I think, cut something that we're not supposed to cut. We have a history on the show of basically giving it to female singer-songwriters every year. That's who always wins, or at least female solo artists in the case of Janelle Monáe. But is that what Self-Esteem is? Does anybody remember?
Self-Esteem,
I like
is
Self-Esteem.
awesome.
That was like this year's Dua Lipa or something. Real sex positive, real high energy.
But weirder.
I liked. Yeah,
it's a dash
weird.
of like it's alt pop for sure.
All right, then what the fuck is the weather station?
Yeah, exactly.
That's another one that's just like rock.
Isn't that female singer songwriter too?
I think it's a female fronted band. There's a couple tracks on the weather station that are pretty cool, but it's when you're listening to an album and then in the middle of it you go, oh, that was a good one. That's not a good sign.
Okay, so I will take out the weather station because people complain for 2 seconds, and that's more than what I can handle.
You're such a strong man.
I'm like the Ross Geller of our generation. And I am going to pick an artist who, this it has to be recorded and released in 2021. It's got to be newly recorded music. I'm going to pick an artist who looked Scooter Braun directly in the eyes and said, "We are never, ever, ever getting back together." Taylor Swift's Red, Taylor's version, is going on the bracket.
Ryan, I think you upset both McKenna and I possibly a little bit when you came in with Tay Tay. Woo!
Because you guys hate her?
No, she belongs on this bracket. We wanted to put her on this bracket, but I'm so glad that she's here. Same. She was also my top choice.
Well, she did two Taylor's versions this year, so we could put Taylor twice in here.
Oh, we can double down on the Taylor? Interesting.
Oh, Taylor, the bracket.
So that's my pick. Cassie, you're up next.
Wow. You know.
Oh, and if Cassie takes off red
Yeah.
right now, you two can get it back on the bracket.
Taylor Swift has shooters out here, ready to take down this bracket.
I am here to take away everything people love, so I am going to get rid of Taylor Swift's version. And with the person that needs to be respected, if we pulled off Taylor's version here, I'm going to say we need to put on Faces by Mac Miller, which is a re-release of his mixtape, but was never fully put out there. His mixtape was a kind of like a search and find on his website, which you had to agree to make him a virtual sandwich in order to download. So let's respect a true artist out here. That's Mac Miller with Faces. But this mixtape was like, it's still put out there as like one of his, it's like respected in the mix of all of his songs. Because like this is the album where he kind of started to find his true like voice. Cause he got big off of Blue Slide Park. But that's how he kind of became known as like a joke artist. And then and on Faces, he kind of let like people into the real side of him a bit more and really found his voice. And it was like all recorded with just like kickback sessions at his house. He would just invite his friends over and then have them like record this. And he gave himself like a week and was like, I'm gonna put out 24 I think songs. It's a huge fucking album. And he was like, I need this out there. And it still holds up. It's still excellent. So I'm throwing it out there.
Does that mean we're going to get like a Mac Miller Get Back documentary?
Mm-hmm.
8 hours of him recording this album?
And watch him just play video games and freak out that he's not using his time correctly.
And if you don't make him a fucking sandwich, he'll know from the grave, okay? Everybody make him a sandwich. Listen to this.
Well, Taylor Swift already off the bracket thanks to
That was quick. Quick turnaround there.
Quick
Cassie
turnaround.
and a mixtape from 10 years ago. Mike, are you freaking out because of all the rules that are being broken right now?
I don't know the rules and I don't understand anything, so I'm fine with it. I think that's the way to make me cool is don't actually tell me the rules of anything.
McKenna, you are up next.
All right, I'm going off of the rule that Ryan said was legal. I'm sorry, Mac Miller. Taylor Swift is going back on the bracket. We're putting red back there, all right? The Phoebe Bridgers little collab is worth it alone. If you just need to hear that
I was
song.
about to
Yankee
say-
swap.
Mac Miller wasn't even put on the thing because everybody knew this would happen.
It never got
Nobody
typed in.
typed it in.
I'm over
Yeah.
it right now. I know
Go,
Caitlin's
McKenna.
not going to take it away. I'm so fucking happy.
Can we just say how passionate Cassie was about this Mac Miller album?
The reason I had to talk about it because we never get a chance.
And McKenna was so quick to shove down Cassie.
Also,
No, Taylor.
Yeah, she had a whole little paragraph that she
Yeah.
read about it. And she's like, She does the Dikembe Mutombo finger wag in her face.
Not in my house.
Cassie, if you could have kicked off anybody else but Taylor Swift, and
that's
that would have
fair.
stayed.
That's fair.
All right, Caitlin, you have the final choice before we get into some cutting.
Oh, man. Okay, so I'm going to do something, I think, unexpected. I'm going to take Sydney Sprague off. Sorry, Mike.
That's pretty expected.
Okay. And I'm going to give this one to Cassie and do Mac Miller.
So, I mean, it's not surprising which friend you like more, but you might have to make it so
No,
blatant.
I have Taylor Swift already on here. My girl's there. Thank you, Books. Thank you, McKenna. And now I'm helping out another friend
Hell
with Mac
yeah.
Miller and making him a sandwich.
You
That-
you wouldn't know this, Caitlin, but that move stinks.
That move is great. A true hero of our
I've listened to the
generation.
Mac Miller album.
All right, and so with that, we have our 16 contenders for Album of the Year. We're going to cut half of them right now. Your number one seed is Sometimes I Might Be an Introvert from Little Sims, who is a British rapper. This is her fourth album, but I think her breakthrough.
Yeah, this is like you can no longer deny me.
Right. Anybody, let's do it. Mike, what'd you think?
It is awesome. The flow is great. The vibe is all over the place. There is like I feel like we as a unit, not just the 5 of us or 6 of us on this show, but like as Americans are getting more into British hip hop and post. Am I going to say this correctly? Post like grime British hip hop is fucking awesome. Like everything that's come past the streets has been great. This album rules.
It's going up against one of the aforementioned female singer-songwriters, Home Video from Lucy Dacus.
And this is like one of our better singer-songwriters that we've had in a while. I'm surprised that it's so low ranked, that she's so low ranked, to be honest. I listened to this album like 5 or 6 times. I was really into it.
This is one of the best albums of the year.
Yeah, like I mean, it's a shame because I don't think she really stands much of a chance against Little Sims, especially with this album. But
Yeah,
like,
did she just run into a buzzsaw here?
Yeah, I think that's what happened. But it makes me sad because I thought we were going to get a chance to really like talk about this and get in depth on it. Great songs about growing up queer and you know just how weird life is in so many different ways, like being Christian and queer at the same time, and trying to navigate life
Queerstian,
that way.
I think they call it.
Queerstian.
Hayden Queerstensen. Okay, let's get to a vote. Cassie, Little Sims or Lucy Dacus?
I'm gonna go with Little Sims. It's number 1.
Caitlin?
I'm gonna go with Lucy Dacus.
Oh shit! I think that's a vote for Little Sims. If you can't say the name, McKenna.
After hearing the description about Little Lucy Dacus, I definitely want to hear it, but I'm gonna go with Little Sims.
I do
Yeah,
like that she called it Little Lucy Dacus, which is now the official name.
Mike, what do you think?
I love Lucy Dacus. Go listen to Hot and Heavy at least, but it's Little Sims.
And Greg.
I'm going to throw out the vote for Lucy Dacus because and the reason I'm doing it is because this is, I think, my genuine favorite album of the year, and so I'm gonna give her the vote.
But Little Sims takes it home. Your number 8 seed is Hotels by Jasmine Sullivan. Now, this was a controversial album because apparently she was like a very, I don't know, like a big singer in the classical sense. She had a lot of power, like a old school Mariah Carey. And this album is not that. People were not appreciative. Greg, what do you think of this one?
It is a very sexual album, very funky, a lot of fun, and I think it doesn't take itself super seriously. And then she is a great singer. She's just a very, very talented artist.
I think people were pissed because a lot of G-rated people enjoyed her, and then she put this out, and they were like, "You can't do that to me."
I have to say, while listening to the album, I was like, "Oh, Caitlin can't hear this." You know, like there were a couple lines where I was like, "Oh, we'll just tell her to skip this one." I mean, it's called Hotels, and like she leans into that.
Yeah,
like, she enjoys sex and enjoys singing about it, and is not shy in any way about it, and I loved that. But again, my thoughts went to Caitlin, and I was just like, oh, Jesus, let her not hear this.
If you are hosting episode, then you get the 9th seed automatically, Mike. And Taylor is our host, and he selected Texas by Sleigh Bells.
I mean, real original. Taylor's from Texas. He'll let you know by everything he picks always. And he stayed true to form here. The only thing I knew about Sleigh Bells was Real, which I think is from like 15 years ago at this point. This album rules. It's super fun, super poppy. I don't even like light rock. What do you call it? I don't know what genre to throw this
kind
in.
of electronic.
Electronic rock?
Yeah.
I think people will say experimental, but that has such a like math, I won't enjoy it term.
Right.
This is one of the most enjoyable albums of the year.
Yeah, you have the beautiful mind to experimental albums, and instead you could just groove along to this. This album, one of the last ones I listened to of the year, and was surprised how great it was.
Now, I was blown away, man. This is like Taylor does this basically every year. Like, oh, hey guys, you just maybe want to check out like one of the greatest albums like you've ever heard. I don't know, check it out. And like every year it works. And I was head over heels with this one.
Is a vote for Jasmine Sullivan a vote for anti-Taylor?
Yes.
I just want to make sure everybody knows that before they vote. Greg, where are we going?
There are no easy matchups, but Sleigh Bells, like I'm so excited about this album. I'm excited to, at the end of the show, listen to it again. It's great for going on a walk or working out too. Sleigh Bells all the way.
How often does one of our, not that the voting is done, could go either way, but how often does one of our choices get to make the big show?
Never.
Like,
Yeah.
it never fucking
Actually,
happens.
never.
Mike, where are we going?
I love an album you can either like dance around and laugh with friends or grind and bump in the bedroom too. What Jasmine pulls off here with Hotels is amazing. It has to be my vote. Goes to Hotels, Motels, Holiday Inn.
McKenna?
I wanna be on Taylor's side and also protect Dougal's ears, so I'm gonna go with Sleigh Bells.
Oh, some blessings.
She'll never grow. You guys shelter her.
Baby
like this.
steps. Baby steps, though. This is too much.
Honestly, after listening to Sleigh Bells, I can hear Caitlin say, no, this is too sexual.
There's a groove here, and I don't like what people do when they groove.
Just imagine Caitlin like sitting at her desk at work, right? And there's some of the lines from Hotels. No, you couldn't do that. She would like have to hide.
Caitlin, what is your vote?
Oh man, well,
Go for hotels.
no, it's gonna be Texas.
It is going to be Texas. And Cassie?
I gotta protect her ears. She gave me Mac Miller. I'm of course gonna vote for Texas.
Yes, it's also very Taylor. This is gonna be tailored.
That putting Mac Miller back on the bracket is going to make Cassie on her side for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
For the rest of the season.
All right. Sleigh Bells takes it down. Our next
Taylor's
one
version.
is dry cleaning, which is, are we saying post-punk spoken word?
I put post-punk. I think this is the Parquet Courts entree.
Yeah, but I mean, Parquet Courts is not the most melodious band as far as singing goes, but this is speechifying, basically.
Yeah. But we often talk about how we hate spoken word, but I think this excels beyond that. She knows how
Not
to...
this
It might
way.
be the accent. We
Yeah.
get lulled by the accent.
And also because the backup band is absolutely wailing.
Yeah.
Just like selling out on every song. And she sounds like, when she's delivering her lines, like she's forgetting that she's even on stage.
Yes.
Like, she acts like she doesn't care about what's going on. And then they're just like going nuts. And that like sort of dichotomy there really works for the band.
There's a way she repeats some lines where
Yeah.
it's like she's thinking of it on the spot. And I know fucking nobody does this, right? Nobody's Lil Wayne, that she didn't make it up in the studio, but it's phenomenal.
And so distinct. I mean, really, like we're trying to find other bands to compare them to, but like there's nobody else out there doing what they're doing right now.
That's your number 4 seed. Caitlin, number 13 is Taylor Swift, Red. Have you heard this album?
I know.
Can you wait? Hold on. Can you just pause for a second? It's the 13th album. You know Taylor Swift's number is 13.
What does that
Yes, I
mean?
have heard this. It's her number. That's her thing. If you look, you have to be a Swiftie. But no, yes, I have heard this album, and I have listened to the 10-minute long song that starts it off.
And seen her directed short film that goes along with it?
Yes, I have.
Is this her best album?
I really love this album. It's so hard for me to choose the best album from Taylor Swift because I feel like they live in the year that they come out, and then this is a like re-release, and I feel like it lives now still. So I don't know. I love Taylor Swift, so every album of hers is the best. It's the best album.
All right, Cassie. Dry cleaning, the post-punk spoken word, or Taylor Swift.
Listen, I respect both Dougal and Books here, but it's a re-release, and there can only be one of these in the Mac Miller spot, so I'm going to vote for dry cleaning.
Yes.
You're voting against Taylor Swift because
It's a
Caitlin
re-release.
put Mac Miller in there, and there can only be one.
Yeah, my mind is complicated, Ryan. Don't try to figure it out.
This makes me trust Cassie and how she votes so much more. Integrity.
Caitlin, dry cleaning or Taylor Swift?
I actually enjoy dry cleaning a lot, but I am going to go with Taylor Swift because I stay loyal to my girl.
Unlike Cassie.
McKenna, you ready? Taylor Swift
Oh, yeah. You know, I gotta go with my girl Swift. There were some new songs on this too, Cassie.
Yes.
I don't know if you know that. It's not just
Not
an
a
entire
complete, like,
re-release.
not
She's
enough.
still alive to produce new things or record things in the vault.
That was wrong.
I
Shots
know.
fired
That
at a
was-
dead man.
That's normally Mike's job, okay?
There's a virtual
Spot.
shit sandwich thrown right at the guy.
She pressed the button to download the album to click to make that shit sandwich.
Mike,
Oh, dry cleaning.
Greg,
Yeah, I was so excited about dry cleaning. I thought there was no chance that it was going to get to move on, but here we are, dry cleaning. Woo!
okay. I have the tying or the untying vote, and it is TS for everyone. Taylor Swift will move on.
What the shit?
I spoke too
Fuck
soon.
off.
Check out this dry cleaning album, though, everybody. New Long Leg. It's very good.
Your next battle is Low, a band that's been around since the 90s. I just found that out recently.
Yeah.
I thought they were new. And then I saw one of those best album of 1995 or whatever Twitter brackets, and they were on there. That can't be true. Versus Self-Esteem, prioritize pleasure. How are we feeling here, folks?
We talked about
love this.
Yeah,
album.
Greg, you
very fun, but for self-esteem, prioritize pleasure. Very fun album, but I don't know. Low is doing something. Low is always on their own stuff, and it's just so much more interesting, all put together. Really,
here's where there's times where Low creates just the perfect, like, weird, fucking cool pop rock song with all their lowness sprinkled on it. But the first couple tracks are hard. They're like, isn't static fun? And then it gets louder and louder, and then the music stops, but then there's static with this weird rhythmic pulsing, and you want to fucking dig out your eardrums so it doesn't keep going.
That's Low, baby.
That is Low.
Oh, fuck this, man.
I'm of the age where, like, a minute into the album, I checked if my phone or AirPods were broken 6 or 7 times. And I loved every second of it because it took me away to a dreamscape. These bands are low self-esteem. That is weird.
Nice.
They move on
I don't know
together.
what else we want to say. We've got this noise, but not like it is a symphony of noise. It's not uncalculated noise versus self-esteem, which Mike, you said was sex-positive grooves.
Yeah, sex positive grooves, alt pop.
High energy,
It's
dance music. Yeah.
How sexual. Can Caitlin listen to it? This is the most
I think
important.
this is
No.
safer. Oh.
It's alt pop.
Oh.
It's alt pop.
It's not as dirty as Hotels, but like there are definitely some lines about sex that were not Caitlin approved.
They do acknowledge that sex exists in the world, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's a big no from me.
Greg, you're up. Is it low or self-esteem?
I loved Self-Esteem, but the Low album just different gear for me. So I'm going to say "Hey What" by Low.
Mike?
Low does have my favorite album title of the year because it's the sound you make throughout the album when you are checking your earbuds. But no, I'm
You are
going to
65 years old.
I'm going to prioritize pleasure.
And pick what?
Self-esteem.
McKenna?
I'm going to go with Self-Esteem.
Caitlin?
Oh man, guys, do I go with the sexual route or do I go with my ears burning?
What does she do?
I'm definitely going self-esteem because alt pop is what really gets me. I cannot do the static, guys. I did the same thing. I started listening to it. I was like,
It sucks. The rest of the album, I do think if those first 2 tracks were later in the album or not there.
But it's the only part you brought up just to sabotage Low.
no.
Low, when you think about the band Low, you're always like, all their songs are so weird. And then when you listen to their albums, you're like, actually, every album has 2 weird songs,
Yeah.
and then the rest are kind of normal-ish. Not like in a bad way, but just they're not always being as avant-garde as when we talk about them, like how we bring them up and everything.
Cassie?
I need my weird on here. I need low. I'm going low.
And we are at another crux, which means Low moves on.
Yeah.
Self-esteem can go fuck.
Podcast got low.
I do like that they covered that as the secret track.
Yeah.
Next up, our number 15 seed is Church's Screen Violence, which I will agree with Greg. This is probably the first album of the year, just chronologically, where it wasn't one and done with me. Like, this was on my Spotify for like 5 or 6 plays in a row, just because it is sort of perfect in all of that. I feel artistic, right? I feel like I'm doing my due diligence, but I'm also having a good time. It's going up against the number 2 seed, Tyler, the Creator's Call Me If You Get Lost.
Which I got lost right away. Because
Did you call him?
he's got like 2 different new aliases on this one. So often I was like, I am very lost. I don't exactly understand what's going on. Is this a concept album?
Listening to hip-hop is a lot like reading. At the bottom of every page or song, try to figure out who's the one speaking. You know, you have to understand who is the main character here.
I listened to the Sparks Note version, so he would tell you right before the song started. I feel like with him in general, we've watched this kid grow up artistically and as a person. You know, he uses the F word a lot less than he used to. And Igor was amazing. His last album was that last year, the year before.
That was 2 years. And then
2 years ago.
2 years before that was Flower Boy. I would say this is the best 5-year run of any rapper of the last 5 years.
And I feel like this is the most cohesive version of what he's been growing and like message-wise and sonically. This album, I love Chvrches and I love Screen Violence, but this album is amazing.
And I think that emo rap gets a bad reputation. I think that like a lot of times it's like, no, so now we have to listen to Morrissey do hip hop, like it's going to be slow and boring. But I love how he still figures out a way to make albums pop, even though he's clearly going through many, many, many things.
Also, like it's this album is kind of like a complicated movie in that I think you have to like listen to it a few times before you understand what's going on in it. Like where he is in it, who Tyler Boulder is. Like it's complicated and kind of challenging in a lot of ways.
McKenna Miller, did you listen to Tyler?
I did listen to. That was so delayed. Sorry, I was like, "Who is he talking to?" I like my new name though. I did listen to Tyler. I do think that this is the best or my favorite album that he's released, and it is brilliant. But I was lost, like Greg. I felt real dumb listening to it for a while.
Hey, I think it's cool you could be lost on a rap album. Like I don't know how many times I could say that. Okay, let's get to it. Cassie, Tyler or Churches?
I want to vote Churches is so fun, but it's hard to take down Tyler in this run that he's on, so I'm going to vote for Tyler.
Caitlin?
I'm a big dummy, so I like and I like the good oomps oomps, so I'm going to go with Churches. Churches, please.
That's actually going to go on the next release of the album, the little sticker. Caitlin Unnatural. I like the I'm a big dummy.
It's in quotes. Caitlin McDougal.
McKenna?
Oh, it's Tyler.
Mike?
Tyler.
Greg?
It's so fun having having a whole bunch of Tyler the Creator albums that you can tell people to listen to and not feel weird. Like, oh man, I don't know if I want to expose somebody to this goblin rap. But I'm going to stick with Churches because this is like my second favorite album of the year, I think.
Yeah, I think that when we lose a bunch of these albums and we have fewer to focus on, Tyler has what it takes to run the gauntlet. Your number 7 seed is Collapsed in Sunbeams by Arlo Parks, who is, I believe, a female singer-songwriter. She's going up against your number 10 seed, Turnstile, which is punk rock. I got one album on this bracket of my shit, and it's Turnstile. That's what I'm dealing with this year.
Did you like it, Ryan? Did you like Turnstile?
I did a lot. Yeah.
Because you were like the first person I thought of when I heard the first chord on the album. I was like, oh, it's for Ryan.
That's a Ryan chord.
Especially because it's not what critics are into, So I feel like every year we get one representative, and this definitely holds up. Arlo Parks, however, was... Do you guys ever remember what you were doing while you were listening? Like Arlo Parks, I was cleaning the garage, and it was perfect because she was just like... It was this like nostalgia. It was a sunny day, or it was like, but it was a little cold, and she warmed me up. I love this album too.
Yeah, it's one of the most poetic lyrically albums we have on the list, and sometimes you can use that in saying it's convoluted and dumb and hard to parse through. But I think she's a phenomenal lyricist.
Affirming.
Yes.
Yeah, like so much of this music is even if it's nice and powerful, it is like abrasive in a lot of ways. Like an album, a band like Low trying to like push you and challenge you. This is just like it kind of comforts and holds you, and it's like a feel good album, but not in a way that is like
simple,
condescending.
Or even mainstream. It just she does the work. It's not a feel good album because there's a lack of edge. It's
also,
a feel good album because she does the work.
I don't know if she's one of these artists who's been around forever and I've just now heard of her, but it has a new sound to it, and I like that about it too, like a genuineness that is not like ironic.
Which is weird because that's what we have to have. Like feelings are hard, and we want you to have that edge. All right, Greg, where are we going? Arlo Parks or Turnstile?
I was bored by Turnstile, I have to say. It didn't give me anything new, whereas Arlo Parks, I felt like, wow, this is like an evolution in sound.
Damn. Mike?
Yeah, I agree with Greg. Turnstile should be directly up my butthole, and I just had no idea why this album came out and why it matters. Arlo Parks.
Yikes. McKenna?
I'm going to go with Arlo Parks.
Caitlin?
Arlo!
And Cassie?
Turnstile for no reason.
Yes,
but
it's Turnstile for no reason. Cassie and I are going to film us moshing to Turnstile and then replace it with Arlo Parks and see what the video looks like. But Arlo Parks moves on. And now I think that we have the battle of today as far as albums go. Your number 3 seed is Olivia Rodrigo's Sour. Caitlin, who is Olivia Rodrigo?
Oh my God. So you guys, I've been talking about this thing called High School Musical, the musical series, right?
Yes.
Olivia Rodrigo is one of the main characters from there, and she sings on there beautifully. And now this is her solo album, I think debut, and it is an amazing, I would say Paramore-esque album where she just screams about her feelings and is able to articulate her feelings so well and scream about it, and I feel it. And if anyone else were to try to sing this, like let's say in karaoke, it doesn't work out like Olivia Rodrigo because she has a crazy cadence that she does in this, and I love her.
Well, when you say Paramore-esque, they went to court and a judge said you copied Paramore. So that's about as esque as you can get.
Yeah.
Did she go through a breakup in the last couple of years? It was hard to tell.
Yes, she did. Okay, so again, let's go back to High School Musical, the musical series, because she was dating her co-star, the Troy to her Gabriella. And yes, they did break up in between season 1 and 2. A spoiler, season 2 was about the breakup as well. They broke up in the show and in real life so that they didn't have to share screen time together. And yeah, this is basically all a breakup album about that show. So fucking watch High School Musical, the musical series. It'll paint you such a more beautiful picture of this album. I'm just saying.
Absolutely not. The good news is that I would say 2021 was the year of Olivia Rodrigo. Like, she sort of owned the year. But that dude you just said, never fucking heard of him. So
he has
that guy can kick rocks.
He has one song that is quote unquote his big song, and it sucks ass. So it's called Lie, 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 I think. It's real bad.
He sounds like a piece of shit. This album, I know we've said this before on the show, but like the one thing that bothers me about the sort of like the conversation about this album is music sounds like the music that came before. Like sometimes your songs sound like the songs of the last generation, and that's the way it's been for so long. And it's weird to like have an artist come out and have songs that are obvious references to songs that existed previously, and then have those people like taken to court.
Well, Greg, she's a 17-year-old girl, so maybe think about that. That's why. Fuck her.
They were like, because there was another song too that they were like, this
Elvis
sounds too much
Costello.
like Elvis Costello. Yeah. Man, fuck off. She's fucking 17. Like, just let her have her album.
I think this is one of the most cohesive albums we have on the list of like, it is, as Ryan pointed out, it is about this one solid breakout, and it heads, I think the way the 17-year-old hits all the points of it of like, sometimes I'm very sad and I miss you. Sometimes I want you to fucking die. Sometimes I'm mocking the fact that you lifted my personality, stole it, and are just applying it to the new girlfriend.
Like she did with Paramore.
Yes.
Thank you very much. McKenna, this is going up against, or let's go to Cassie rather. Sorry, Cassie, this is going up against Lil Nas X.
Dude.
What kind of year did Lil Nas X have?
My king can do nothing wrong. My little gay king can do nothing wrong at all. And it's a beautiful album. He's a beautiful soul. And I know Sour bangs, but Montero bangs. I don't know if you saw him strip from heaven to hell, but this album bangs. It's so good. It has bangers. It hits the feels in between. It has everything. It's perfect in every way. Like my little boy, Lil Nas X.
Is this the year that he also had like blood in sneakers and grinded on the devil? So like, I love that. Yeah, he's firing up that Million Mile March.
Yeah.
Lil Nas X was at least had some responsibility in making this year feel like it was 6 years.
Yeah.
Like he did a lot of stuff.
I just have to point out, he was grinding on the devil as a way to get the devil to drop his guard so that he could kill the devil.
Yeah,
like that's
fairy
the most
power?
holy thing you can do.
Yeah, and I don't know why they don't see this. He is a true hero.
but then he becomes the devil.
The great thing about Lil Nas X is he is so good at constantly like stoking everybody's like excitement, and then it came time to deliver an album, and it was not like it didn't change music, but he did deliver. Like it came time to put out the album, and it's good. It's like, you don't have to change music every single time you release a track.
That's hard to do, I think.
I was a little bit like, Greg, your reaction to Adele.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little plain, a little like, let's get this out. Let's capitalize on the popularity more than like, this is a complete work of art.
I'd say I was whelmed. Yeah. the Tamahama, Hana, that one's good, but I think the videos elevate the songs here.
Yeah. It's a fun, good album, but I don't think it's like in this, except for this one example, I don't think it's in the same conversation as Sour.
Also, I didn't understand it because I didn't hear the first IX, so...
Lil Nas 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg,
Yeah.
It sounded like you didn't even want to say that one. Like, you're contractually obligated.
Greg, why don't you keep me from talking by voting for either Olivia Rodrigo or Lil Nas X?
Yeah, loved Montero. Fun album. He still got it, but Sour like feels like 2021, which is now a year which is in our past. Whoa. Oddly enough.
Mike,
this is why albums exist. This album is. I'm surprised it's so low on the list and it's number 3 seeded. Olivia Rodrigo Sour gets my vote.
damn, McKenna.
Yeah, I have to go with the 17-year-old who can express her emotions better than I can. It's Sour.
Kaylin,
Oh my god! I didn't know this is how it was going to go.
are you crying right now? No, we're crying.
I'm crying. I'm crying because I love Olivia Rodrigo, but I'm still planning on voting for Lil Nas X. I love Montero.
Does not matter. Cassie?
Lil Nas X.
Lil Nas X. I would have voted for Olivia Rodrigo, of course, and she moves on. Our final battle, guys, of the album bracket is your number 6 seed, Japanese Breakfast, with her or their album Jubilee. This is another, I think, female singer-songwriter in the shape of a band. Versus the number 11 seed, Mac Miller's mixtape from a while ago.
It's called Faces, okay?
It's called Faces?
Yes.
Okay.
Not a terrible year for hip hop artists releasing albums from beyond.
From
I like
beyond.
If you are a popular enough music act, then for like 10 yeyears after you die, they're just unearthing new music and putting out albums on your behalf.
Yeah, if you die young, your last album is your 4th to last album.
I mean, because the guy I'm thinking of is Juice WRLD, had another album come out this year, and it's like all the same, like, I'm probably going to die any second songs that make me feel very conflicted when I listen to them. So I guess that's just like a thing that happens in music now.
This one, it's all the same. It's the same ones. The opening line to this album is "I should have died a long time ago." It hits so fucking hard.
Guess what, kiddo? You did. Japanese Breakfast is a
Achievement
nice sound.
unlocked.
Japanese Breakfast is a nice sound, an album that I wanted to be slightly more into than I was. I kept feeling like, this is fun. I should be more into this. I think maybe I just didn't get enough of a chance to listen to it yet.
See,
and that's
this
why
one...
I'm excited. It's potentially going to move on. to give myself another opportunity to do that.
This one for me, this one actually pushed past that level, Greg, for me. Like, you have all these albums and they do start to sound the same, so you're looking for what is going to separate you. And I thought that her instrumentation, her choices in how she's going to separate each song from the other was all that I needed to make this one of my favorites.
And for 2021 to write a album that's entirely about joy feels like a bold, brave move. And an awesome pairing if you're like this kind of nerd. She also came out with a memoir called Crying in H Mart this year, and that's all about grief, which is why this album's all about joy. Pair those guys and get the full emotional year of...
She also did the soundtrack for a video game called Sable, and the soundtrack is amazing, and it's very much like a soundtrack, and she does a good job with that.
She also wrote an opera called Tears. So.
She's
a big year for
quintuple
her.
threat. This is one of those artists where I thought this was her second album, and she's been around since 2013.
Yeah. She's going to EGOT in just this year.
O for opera?
O for opera.
O for opera.
All right, so we have Japanese Breakfast, a quality musician, versus Macklemore Miller. Is his first name Macklemore?
Macklemore Miller is really great, and it's because the reason I got into it is because Cassie, I listened to a fucking podcast that she told me about, because I was like, well, she loves it so much. Cassie knows more about Mac Miller than I know about any band ever, so I was like, I guess I should listen to it a little. I just don't put him so much down. He's already 6 feet down. That's what I'm saying.
Everybody gets their one.
This is why I bring him all the time, any chance I get, so you guys can dunk on him. It's
Make
an
fun
honor.
of the fact that he's dead.
No, a good musician would be alive.
As McKenna
Wait, I was
said.
defending him. I started my spiel.
Just keep digging that hole, Mike. Cassie, you're up first. Is it Mac Miller or Japanese Breakfast?
It's Mac Miller.
What? Caitlin?
It's Japanese Breakfast.
McKenna?
Contrary to what I said earlier, I actually really do like Mac Miller, so I'm gonna get back in Cassie's good graces. I'm gonna go with that vote.
I'm gonna make the target on my back bigger. It's Japanese Breakfast.
Greg.
Yeah, of all the albums that I'm excited to like pay more attention to on our next listens, it's Japanese Breakfast. That's the one that I'm most excited, I think.
It was a close one, but Japanese Breakfast.
Whew, thank goodness.
Moves into our top 8. So that is the battle for the show that will take place on February 10th. Your final 8 artists that we will discuss on that night are Little Sims, Sleigh Bells, Taylor Swift, Low, Tyler, the Creator, Arlo Parks, Olivia Rodrigo, and Japanese Breakfast. When we come back, let's talk about movies.
Well, that is very, very funny. Or very sad, and perhaps now you have something to think about. Or very problematic, and perhaps we have something to think about. But in any event, I'm sure you have some reaction to what you're listening to. So why not check us out on the social media? You can go to Instagram or Twitter and find us at YourPopFilter. Email contacts@YourPopFilter. Hey, everybody, keep watching them movies.
It's movie time, and I get to continue to talk. A wacky year for movies, I would say, mostly because of HBO Max saying, you know what? Let's just put theatrical releases in homes. I don't know if you guys took advantage of that. Did you guys watch a lot of Mortal Kombat and Matrix at home?
I unfortunately did watch Mortal Kombat at home, Ryan.
I saw Monkey Fight Lizard.
Yeah.
That was a good
I
one.
saw Monkey Fight Lizard.
I saw Matrix at home, so I got to be completely underwhelmed in the privacy of my own home. Yeah, the home box office has been amazing. It's
and
nice
literal.
not to have to risk your life to go see a movie.
Finally living up to its name.
Did any of the stuff that I know that we all have our typical amount of movies that we see, whether it's a lot or a little, but did the world change that, make it a lot lower than it usually is?
Oh yeah.
Cool. All right. So we have 16 movies in the bracket, but and including my pick, which is already in there, it's already locked in. But you guys have an opportunity to pitch me movies that you think should be on the bracket, and I might put it on there. I might not. I might
change the rules on us.
I didn't change the rules. Taylor's not here, so we had to change the rules for that. Okay, so Greg, what is the movie that you cannot believe is on the bracket?
That I can't believe is on the bracket. I cannot believe
It's not on the bracket. Sorry, it's not on the bracket.
Okay. I can't believe that the movie Pig isn't on the bracket, because I feel like there was a while where all anybody talked about was the movie Pig. Nicolas Cage has a truffle hunting pig, and I think he gets like John Wicked or something, and he has to then go and avenge it or save it or something. And I felt like there was like a 2-week period where people were like, no, like for real. It sounds like I'm making fun of this, but it's a good movie and you should go watch it. And I think that we could have fun talking about it.
I agree so much. I cannot believe this movie made it, or didn't make it rather. So
God damn it, Ryan.
I don't know words. Pig might make it on. Mike, what didn't make the bracket?
I can't believe The Last Duel didn't make the bracket. Talk about movies that made people talk about movies. I feel like it's pretty. They're not that common. Pig did it for a while. Marvel movies always do it for a bit, and then there's the backlash. But anytime half the country, and by countryman Twitter, says this movie was amazing, and half says this movie was dog shit and problematic, and here's why, I'm so fascinated in that. And the stirring the pot, and having fucking Ridley Scott, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Nicole Holofcener, is that the third writer? Having their version of Rashomon.
You said it in a weird way, but it is her name.
Maybe I said it the right way. Having their version of Rashomon and all the bananasness of this movie, it should be on this list.
There's one thing I want to say, though.
Year.
Jodie Comer signed up for the next Ridley Scott movie on the spot. And I was like, oh, shit, that means that it was a good working environment. And she has since quit. She was like, no, I'm not doing that shit. So that makes me nervous. But Last Duel, a contender for the bracket. McKenna?
I cannot believe that. I feel like this was hyped up and talked a lot, and I feel like the performance by Andrew Garfield makes it a really great movie, and that's Tick, Tick, Boom.
Tell me what that is.
That is a musical movie about it's kind of like story of Jonathan Larson, the writer and creator of Rent.
He
It's
created
about-
Rent? Fuck landlords.
He's waiting for that.
No, I asked her to
Classic
explain it just so I
misunderstanding.
could say that.
Just so yeah. So that's Tick Tick Boom. It's great. I feel like it was a bit of a redemption for Vanessa Hudgens after her really shitty 2020. So
And it got the world ready to see Andrew Garfield again. No further comments.
Yeah, we won't do spoilers. We won't do spoilers at all, but was this the year of Andrew Garfield?
It was the year.
God
of Andrew
damn
Garfield,
it,
yes,
man.
No spoilers.
Everyone fell in love with him all over again. I think it was the end of the year was Andrew Garfield.
No spoilers for a big franchise of movies. Andrew
Nope.
Garfield. No spoilers.
Are you talking about the franchise Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties? Caitlin,
Yes.
what movie is not on the bracket?
Ryan, there's a movie that I've been talking about and petitioning all of my friends to watch that I have just loved, and I feel like just didn't get enough attention, so I think it belongs on this list. It's actually a Netflix movie. No, it's not the Vanessa Hudgens movie where there's 3 Vanessa Hudgenses. No.
Oh, shit. Wait, that's the Fast and Furious version of like a holiday movie?
It's the third installation of the movie, so of course there has to be 3 Vanessa Hudgens in the movie.
The Princess Switch 3, yes?
Yes. That's the one. But that's not what I'm putting on this bracket. Instead, I'm putting the movie Love Hard. It's also a Christmas movie from Netflix, and it's a Christmas catfish movie. I thought it was going to be dumb and stupid, and then I ended up really, really loving it and watching it multiple times, and people have looked at me weird because I love it so much, but I think it deserves more love.
I think this movie would hit really hard for me and my family because every morning we would wake up and in our stockings would be the Christmas catfish. Not every morning, just Christmas morning.
Just Christmas. Yeah, every
Just
Christmas.
every
It'd be
morning.
weird. It's not very Christmassy if it's every morning. This is Jimmy O. Yang, right? He's in Silicon Valley and then
I like
Crazy
him.
Rich Asians.
And then Nina Dobrev, is that how you say your name?
Dobrev.
Dobrev.
Dobrev?
Dobrev.
She's from the Vampire Diaries, I think. One of the vampire movies.
I don't know what that means.
Okay. Okay. But she's from one of those vampire movies, and she's really pretty. And it's just a really good, heartwarming movie, and I like how it goes.
What's the third one going to be called?
Love Harder. Love
Nope,
Hardest.
That's the second one. The third one is Love Hard with a Vengeance. Cassie, what do you have for us?
Ryan, I can't believe on this list we do have an animated one, but you put the wrong one. There's Luca on here. It shouldn't be that. It should be Encanto. Because
I can't believe
Encanto-
Mike and McKenna. Where were you with this?
I thought I was going to, but the last but is it that Encanto came out like the last day of 2021?
No,
Is
it
that why I was
came-
forgotten? No, I know. It was
came on Thanksgiving
amazing.
Day.
Yeah, it
Christmas
was.
movie.
It's the best animated movie I've seen in such a long time. Like the relatability of like having this pressure of like living up to your family and everything and not letting them down while you have special powers, and the songs are good and it's
the songs
colorful.
rip.
What else do we need?
It's so
Get
beautiful.
Luca out of here.
Oh,
The
it's
color
a gorgeous
is
film.
insane. It's riotous color.
Cassie walked
Magical
in as
realism straight from Colombia.
Cassie walked in as I was crying, bawling, crying from this movie because it was just so good.
And it's got friend of the podcast, Johnny Legs.
Yes.
John Leguizamo,
Never
absolutely
forgot.
killing it.
Doing his best Lin-Manuel Miranda impression.
Okay. So thank you, McKenna, Mike, and Caitlin. But you guys can shut up. Pig and Encanto are going on this bracket.
Hell yeah, dude.
Johnny
just
Legs.
I just have to figure out where. I'm not replacing Luca
What?
That's fine.
just because
Luca's
I'm,
also a bomb ass movie. I'm
Luca's
not just sit
really
here and
good.
let anybody
We need-
besmirch Luca in my
We
presence.
need
that
more. You need more
Not that it's
animated representation.
yeah. So and maybe less Marvel. This thing is fucking chock full of Marvel. By the way, this bracket was done half critics, half letterbox. So that's why certain movies appear. I am going to, but I don't want to replace Luca because I don't want one of these movies to beat the number 1 seed. So, The Worst Person in the World, a wonderful movie, a rom-com that I highly recommend. That is now Pig.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kick off the Wes Anderson movie.
Oh my gosh.
That's unprecedented for
Breaking
this group.
news.
What?
And I watched it a couple days ago. I thought it was great, but it really has no chance here. You have to, like, this is really just for the most egregious Wes Anderson fans. Whereas Encanto seems to be, like, for fans of life. And so that's
yeah.
in and Wes is out. All right, let's begin the bracket. Your number one seed is The Power of the Dog, a movie that my wife just watched. I was doing something else, and she paused it every 10 minutes so that we could talk about it. This is by far not just the number one seed, obviously, but the contender for movie of the year. Greg?
Yeah, capital F film about, touch and about letting people inside and about, what that can unlock for us, but then also potentially the hazards that come with that. You feel like you are watching a legitimate film the entire time. You're like, oh, this is good. I can tell this is good.
But at a certain point, it becomes a roller coaster of a thriller as well. So I want to,
which I almost hesitate to bring up.
I know I don't
in a way,
but I want it to win though.
Yeah.
Can I ask a wait? Yeah. Can I before we vote? Can I? Because right now I know that you should stop every 10 minutes to talk about it, and it's a capital F film and about touch. What is this movie about, guys? It's Benedict Cumberbatch doing what?
He is a rancher. It's ranchers who have been very successful, but they're getting to middle age and deciding what how they're going to move forward. And one of the two guys, Jesse Plemons, starts a relationship and
should just said that. Yeah,
he wants to be more cityfied, and Benedict Cumberbatch's character is just wants to be out on the range and misses a life that's gone and misses this guy named Bronco Henry, who's his perfect version of a cowboy,
played by Jason Momoa.
And he just
that is the Duncan Idahoist of names.
And just about the hold that these two guys have on each other and whether or not they can let each other go and start leading separate lives.
Also, if you wondered why MJ didn't land in No Way Home, she accidentally came over to Montana in the 1800s or the early 1900s, and that's why she's in this movie. I watched all of this director's movies before this one came out. She directed The Piano and Portrait of a Lady.
This is Campion?
And Campion, yeah. And I think that it's so important to, it's about the battle of the sexes like all of her movies are, but typically when you say that, the movie is saying there is a battle of the sexes, period. That's as far as the movie will go. It exists, and that's it. And this movie is no, let's fucking deal with it. Let's punch it in the face. Let's wrestle around in the mud with it. That's what she is best at. And so it's going up against your number 16 seed, Luca. Cassie, what is Luca?
Luca is about a little Italian boy who turns out to be a mermaid. And no, he's a mermaid, and he wants to be a little Italian boy who has a Vespa. My apologies.
Italian boy.
He's a little Italian mermaid.
Nobody who is not Italian wants to be Italian.
Apologies. His goal is to have a Vespa, but the land doesn't like the mermaids, so it's dangerous for him. But he gets a Vespa, you guys, and it's somewhat touching.
Wow.
Jamming with the faintest of praise.
It's beautiful. It's funny. It's silly. It's definitely a good time. It's not quite The Power of the Dog, though. You're not going to leave changed. If you stop this movie every 10 minutes, you can just say what's going to happen in the next 10 minutes of the movie. It will never surprise you even one time.
Ouch.
Also,
but it's beautiful.
I would say watch The Power of the Dog with somebody, because every time they pause and ask, what was that? You just say, this is The Power of the Dog. You can answer that for every question that they have. All right. Luca versus Power of the Dog, Cassie.
I'm going to have to go with The Power of the Dog.
Caitlin?
Woof, woof.
McKenna?
What that was?
I don't know how to follow that vote, but I'm going to go with The Power of the Dog.
Michael?
Yeah, Power of the Pup.
Greg?
Yeah, Power of the Dog. You get to the end of this movie, and you're like, hell yeah, that was interesting.
And what else do we need? Your number 8 seed is, I think, the most polarizing movie of the year. Don't Look Up started a thing on Twitter where people would say this wasn't that good, and then the filmmakers would come back at the people and say, you don't understand how the environment works or good filmmaking. Maybe, what if it was just a bad movie?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, how long can you tell your audience they were wrong about it before?
Well,
you just have to be like, well, maybe you guys got it.
The people who say they love the environment, therefore it was good, they're on Adam McKay's side.
Yeah. Cassie and Caitlin, you guys actually watched this. Was it good? Was it funny?
I thought it was more horrific than funny because it was just, I felt like it was something that could really happen. Also, I was really surprised. They had a bunch of big actors, and then Timothée Chalamet came in, and he was just a little country boy. So I thought that was fun. Everything else was not fun, and I wanted to turn it off because it was just like, oh, I know what's going to happen. From the moment that you find out what's happening, like what's going on, you kind of know what's going to happen. They do look up. Mm-hmm. Spoiler.
And that's the thing, right? We all know what's going to happen. The world's going to end, and we're watching it happen.
Yeah. So
that's funny.
Yeah, it wasn't like I was hoping. Everybody kept saying how funny it was, and honestly, none of the jokes, like, I know it's satire, but like none of the jokes hit even as satire. Like, I was just sitting there watching a boring movie, pretty much, but with a little bit of anxiety because I was like, this comment is getting too close.
So why not just have
like
Al Gore make it then?
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. That's what it felt like, and I think I was cringing more than smiling during this movie.
Tangerine has won Pop Filter Movie of the Year. The Florida Project has won Pop Filter Movie of the Year. Sean Baker's third film is Red Rocket, which I made sure to get into this bracket because to go 3 for 3 like that would be pretty crazy. It tells the story of a guy named Simon Rex who returns to his Texas town, which would get the Taylor vote, and tries to get his life back together. But he's actually not the best of guys. He left a long time ago to film some movies that I'm not going to mention because I want Caitlin to vote for this, for the type of movie that it is.
Ryan, she already hated Don't Look Up. Don't worry about it. It's a slimy D.
And then that's sort of it, like that's where we are with the story is just what is it like to be with this guy who is not a good person and is trying, but is he? But he's trying you have to figure out, and you have to figure out what the director feels about this person. And if you've ever seen a Sean Baker movie before, you definitely know what to expect. You're going to get a slice of life with a bunch of people who do not look like anybody in any other movie. This is a small, very poor Texas town, and it's once again telling the story of the people on the fringes who do not get stories about them.
Yeah, it's so interesting when you watch one of his movies and you're like, you just don't see people that look like this in movies nowadays. Like when we did Movie of the Year 1975, it was the same feeling. Like, oh yeah, I see people like this on the street, but never in a movie.
Yeah, the lady who plays
Uggos.
That sucks for the woman I'm about to describe, Greg. So thank you for that. The lady who plays his mother-in-law is just not what you would think an actress looks like. But very realistic. It's almost stylized in that it's not. Like you realize that Hollywood acting is stylized, and these are just people like just giving performances that you've never seen before. But it's not as depressing, or like it's not like one of those movies where like we snuck a camera into like the worst part of the city. It's a real story with real characters.
Florida Project and Tangerine are both like super life affirming at the end of the day. Like they're about gritty parts of life or whatever, but you come away from it being like, people are okay.
Yeah. He has this knack for this thing, and I will be there for every one of his movies. We have to go to a vote. It's Don't Look Up versus Red Rocket. Greg.
I haven't seen either one of these. I'm really excited about the idea of seeing Red Rocket, and I like don't want to see Don't Look Up.
I feel like I'm protesting if I just continue to watch Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
Mike?
I like what Adam McKay has done as a director, but based on the previews, this looks like a David O. Russell movie. And if you know me, that means it looks like dog shit. And Ryan, I'm sorry, you legally can't see all of Sean Baker's movies because he's on my team.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to put that in. I love Sean Baker. Of course I'm voting for Red Rocket.
I didn't actually watch it, Mike, obviously.
Good.
Because otherwise I'd be killed. McKenna?
I simply just don't want to have to finish Don't Look Up because I've already fallen asleep trying to watch it. So Red Rocket gets my vote.
Caitlin?
Oh, fuck Don't Look Up. Red Rocket.
And Cassie?
In the suffering. Nobody watch it. It's Red Rocket.
Fuck yes. I'm in. Greg, let's talk about the number 13 seed, The Green Knight. This was an amazing movie. This is one of my favorite movies of the year.
Yeah, they took this old poem and they fucking made it into a movie, and they like did not necessarily like movie-fy every part of it. Like it's as weird as this story is, like as the Middle English poem is. The movie embraces that weirdness every little bit, and it's like fun. It's interesting, and yeah, it was like I don't do the $20 at home like pay-per-view things, but Green Knight was day one.
You know, I put that together after you told me that you watched it, and then I thought about it, and I was like, wait, the only way that he could have seen it was with that one night only $20 ticket day. You paid for this at home.
I did, dude. I did. I paid to see something.
I don't even want to. I'm not even mentioning what it's up against yet. I just want to talk about this a little bit more. I want to give props to Dev Patel, who, much like in Red Rocket, plays someone who is on the surface, I guess, like just the most handsome, ravishing lead, and then just such a piece of shit, and not like an evil, just like a fucking weak scumbag baby. And he doesn't pull back from that. You know, typically you would pull back from that if you're going to make a movie with this high of a budget. This movie fucking ruled. It's up against your number 4 seed, Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Now, I haven't heard of that one. What's that about?
I'm a bit of a film myself. I exposed myself to a lot of COVID to see this movie, and I don't regret it. This is the only movie I've seen in the theaters for 2 years, and every single part of it that you might think people would cheer at, people were going absolutely ape for. And even though I was afraid I was actively breathing in the Omicron variant, I still managed to have fun.
What a delight. It is so powerful and fun that it makes you forgive and ignore or not even notice all the things that are stupid and wrong about it.
Now, Mike, this is movie of the year. So is it, or this is best of the year? Does it have what it takes to like override those flaws to get into the next round?
I think so. Like there are. Of course, Caitlin would agree.
I agree with you, Mike. Continue.
Caitlin,
I don't know why that made me angry.
Caitlin's going to agree. Caitlin's freaking agreeable.
Caitlin, you just switched Mike's vote to the Green Knight.
I feel like every time I vote for something, everyone's like, "Oh no!"
That means that thing's bad.
When I talked about Taylor Swift, the moment I'd open my mouth, I was like, "Oh, I'm turning everyone against her right now."
Yeah, Caitlin, that's been the case for like 4 years now. I can't believe this is now.
That's why we still hate the California raisins.
I used to love them. I go to every show.
Guys.
Caitlin
You're so classy.
Caitlin, was Spider-Man: No Way Home a legit great movie?
Oh my God, yes. I was screaming in the movie. Other people were screaming. If you can go to the movies and have people give such visceral reactions to such an incredible movie, I think it deserves to be a capital F film. The screaming is what I rank films on.
I think that's not wrong. Like if you can get the whole theater cheering, like you're a movie maker doing some shit there. That's hard to do.
The whole theater pulling their masks aside and coughing with joy right into the atmosphere.
Drying their tears with their masks. Yes, I saw it all on myself.
To not be disgusting, we would, everybody in my row, we would dry our tears with each other's masks. Like, don't do it on your own mask, you know?
Intimate.
You wipe your face up against theirs.
Cassie, did you watch this?
Of course I watched this. This was one where it was, without a doubt, everybody was going to see it. It's a Marvel one. It's Spider-Man. And, no spoilers, maybe multiple Spider-Man? Come on. How are we
still
not
don't know
going
yet.
to? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows what happens, but there's a moment in the very beginning that I screamed, and I did not expect, because it was not in any trailers or anything. But I think anyone who has watched it and knows what our dogs' names are would know what I'm talking about.
Her dog's names are Spider-Man. I will. I'll tell you what I screamed is when the movie was over and Paul Giamatti's Rhino was not to be seen at all. My favorite character in all of the Spider-Man movies.
You didn't hear him chortling at the end of the credits?
Oh, that was him. All right, let's do this. The Green Knight. A classic in all of the senses. The source material, the film itself. Cassie, it's against Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's against Spider-Man. I'm going to vote for Spider-Man.
Caitlin.
Spider-Man.
McKenna.
Oh, it's Spider-Man.
Mike.
Yeah, I think the Green Knight could have gone farther, but Buzzsaw, Spider-Man.
Greg.
I'm going to give a vote to the Green Knight because it really,
As will I.
It's a very, very good movie.
But Spider-Man takes it down. If the discourse this year was not about how Don't Look Up was good or bad, it was about how Licorice Pizza involved a romantic or a pseudo-romantic or something relationship between a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old. Gentlemen, have you ever fell in love with your babysitter or tutor or anything like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah, I don't. Why is it controversial if the young person just has a crush on the older person?
Because the Zillennials, who are the youngest? Z, I don't know. These fucking I find this discourse made me turn into an old person. Because it was the fucking kids being like, she doesn't shut it down right away, so this is pedophilia, and I hate everything, and movies shouldn't say things like this. Fuck you, children.
I have not seen this. I have tickets for a date night tonight right after this recording, and I'm very excited. PTA movie is a very big deal in this household. I don't know about yours guys. It's going up against Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and if we just booted out the Green Knight for Spider-Man, I will hear no such fucking bullshit in this round. Although I did like Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi was delightful. What a great new character. Simu Liu rocks. His sisters, like there's so many fun new characters. Having the Washu and the martial arts. 2/3 of this movie felt different than a normal Marvel movie because it looked good and there was choreography.
And then
Those are all the good things.
The bus scene is like one of the best Marvel action scenes. It's a little weird to have like the best action scene in your entire action movie be like so front loaded, but definitely like good fun for sure.
Cassie, let's go to you about the dragons. Everybody shat on the dragon third act. Did that work or was that bullshit?
It was a little bullshit, but listen, dragons are cool and they looked cool. And they were fighting. And what more do you need?
You know what they are is big.
They're big.
I like big, yeah.
I didn't know people shat on the dragon. He didn't seem to smell to me, but I really liked him.
Wonderful.
To have like your movie grounded in human emotions more than a lot of the Marvel movies are, and then to throw that away so you could just slam your action figures against each other sucks.
I'm gonna
People like the slamming.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that as big of a Spider-Man fan as I am, Spider-Man and Shang-Chi are roughly the same sort of quality of movie, right? They're both really good, really fun, not super deep, but that's okay movies. And the reason that Spider-Man is so much more is because it's like not just the nostalgia, but the sticking of the landing of tying, like setting up this promise of tying 25 years of shit together and then actually doing it in a satisfying way sort of moves it into this whole new level of great filmdom. And as much as I like Shang-Chi, it doesn't and never was going to have any of that.
And yet still, like, I remember whatever it was, like 5 years ago when they're like, and then we're going to make the movie Shang-Chi.
Shut up. No, you're not. Nobody
and
cares.
They did that. And that, in a way, like, bringing that property to the big screen is almost as audacious as the Spider-Man thing. And it didn't feel like a reach. It felt like just a good movie, so...
But Licorice Pizza is Paul Thomas Anderson, and
yes.
Everyone is loving it, and we'll see where Cassie wants to go now.
I'm going to go ahead and vote. I'm a dum-dum. Shang-Chi.
Caitlin, fucking...
Shang-Chi!
Oh, my God.
As I'm dabbing.
I'm going to disappoint a lot of people, but it's Shang-Chi.
Do you guys know you're voting against the greatest living director? Right?
Shang-Chi!
We've done worse on this show, Mike.
And one of the Haim sisters.
Yeah, I saw.
Don't you guys like Haim?
No, actually, I don't.
Mike. Oh, my God, Mike. Mike and Greg can really fuck this up.
It's licorice. I want people to know I did enjoy Shang-Chi. I thought it was one of the best Marvel movies that came out this year. And that's saying a lot because there's a fuck ton of them. Yeah. But no, it's Licorice Pizza, obviously. It's, I don't know, the winner of the bracket someday.
Greg?
Literally all these girls care about is big, dumb action movies. But you know what? The boys on this show want to see something a little more close to home. Licorice Pizza.
Sorry, there's not enough abs in Licorice Pizza for you.
There is a nipple on the freaking poster for it, though.
Ayo.
Oh, you know what I forgot to say about the French Dispatch before I took it off? So much nudity.
Yeah, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I have heard.
Wes Anderson nudity? That seems so
it's
weird.
very weird. It's like you open up a children's book and there's titties. Like, what the fuck is happening?
A cupcake with a dong on it.
Or like erotic cakes, something that like there were stores for. Erotic cakes were so popular that there would be stores dedicated to erotic cakes. That's in the past. Now is the future. Let's talk about Dune. Greg, did this movie succeed for you?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, this was like my most anticipated movie of the year. This was the only movie that when it got delayed in the what I'm calling the troubles of 2020, it was the only one that were like really made me sad. Like, oh, I don't want to wait anymore for that. It delivered on the promise of Dune. It's not the perfect adaptation, but it almost is. I'm so excited that they're going to make book 2 or whatever, volume 2 of the original. And the story just gets completely out of hand from this point forward. But I really liked it. I probably watched it 4 times before they took it off HBO Max. And just the music is incredible, the visuals, the whole vibe of it. I think
the
they
sand.
really pulled it off.
Now,
the sand.
It's
I already know Mike's
4
opinion,
movies.
but Caitlin, what did you think of Dune?
It was like 4 hours long.
Yeah.
First of all, so I did have to split up into 2 separate days because I couldn't do it. I couldn't watch that much of a movie. Which I mean, I watched like Lord of the Rings and other movies that were that long, and I was entertained. For some reason, with Dune, it lost me in the very beginning. I feel like there was a lot of action at the end. So like the second like act that I watched was more exciting, but I don't know. It was underwhelming for me. I had heard so many great things about it, and then I was like, "Great sand! Look at that sand! Oh yes, it's spice now. Yummy spice. Oh, there's a worm." Yeah, I was underwhelmed.
Mike, is Caitlin correct?
Yeah. I think visually, I love Denis Villeneuve. I think visually it was awesome to what he did with contrast. And like, we complain about
It was pretty.
dark movies and dark screens, but he's like, here's how darkness can actually look good on film. And the music did rip, Greg. I loved it. I didn't hate that everybody had to whisper all of their lines and my theater refused to put on subtitles. Hated that. And man, I love this shit. Again, this should be straight up my butthole. I love sci-fi, but I don't think you have to be quippy to be charismatic. And I've seen Chalamet be endearing and watchable before, and he just turned into a vacuum of charisma and watchability in this movie.
It's such a plot overloaded movie, and I do think that it handled the plot well because I've seen David Lynch's Dune, so I know how it could be
Where
done
was
poorly.
Sting in a bikini here? That sucks, man. Give me that. I want this weirdness. There was no weirdness.
He's going to
in
be
this
in
movie.
volume 2. They left out the character in volume 1.
But I can't wait to watch it again so I can do Mike what you were able to do in your first one, which is watch Villeneuve's directing and framing
Yes.
and like actually see what he was trying to do, because I was so nervous going in about what's the Bene Gesserit and the
Bene Gesserit.
what does that mean, and why are there worms, and why is it sand, and that
Shai Hulud.
I really didn't focus on what Denis was doing, and so a second viewing would help that out.
I think it's a better time in the movies if you just focus on him and not on the fucking plots.
It's very confusing, but it's very pretty.
Why would you have to move them off the planet if you just want to kill them It's stupid. It's
Because
a
you
badly
need to
plotted
create the
movie.
political will
It's
to do it.
Poorly done, and I know that's probably from the book, which means it's poorly done there.
That is no.
But
I find it so upsetting that you don't like the plot to Dune. I find that so deeply upsetting.
McKenna, this is going up against Pig, a movie star Nicolas Cage, where his truffle hunting pig is taken away, and he has to go into the underground of the cooking world in order to find it. John Wick style, but I hesitate to say that because, man, does this have little to do with John Wick in style or tech afterwards. Are you excited to see this movie?
I am. I've actually seen the trailer to this movie. I've read the description, and it has been on my list for a while because it sounds delightful. And you know what? I've seen the trailer and read the description for Dune. I have to say, Pig sounds much more interesting. So
Pig, like, it's harrowing. Like, it's a gut-wrenching look at like what friendship and life means. It's really hard to explain Pig to somebody without them laughing directly in your face, but it's so much better than that.
But is it about space feudalism, Ryan?
It's not, and it's not like the biggest movie of the year. Like, a lot of times we have to think about what's important, and if it wasn't for Spider-Man, Dune would be the most talked about biggest movie of the year.
And I mean, this is a more tepid response for Dune than I have heard almost anywhere
Yeah.
else, which isn't to say that it's incorrect, but just like to remind people that like people really did dig this movie quite a bit, and it controlled the conversation for a couple weeks.
Yeah, we're the minority.
Yeah.
But we won't be silent.
Cassie, my
Yeah.
little Dune pig. Where are we going, Dune or Pig?
Your description of Pig before you said it was like actually deep and really good was the most amount of joy I've felt in a very long time, so I'm gonna go Pig.
Caitlin?
I feel like last year, wasn't there like a movie called Cow or The Cow that you guys like?
First Cow.
First cow. Woo.
Okay. We need a pig representation here. Bring the pig into the new.
First cow to last pig.
McKenna?
I'm going to go with Pig.
Okay. Shit. Mike? Greg?
Yeah, Dune was like the biggest movie of the year before Spider-Man came out. It's also a good movie, big important director, Dune.
Pig. He enters, and Greg, didn't you suggest Pig?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Takes Dune down, and the number 2 seed is out.
Woo, that's crazy.
That is
Well, I
crazy.
am excited to see Pig.
What we have next is 2 auteurs remaking or reimagining movies that they fell in love with that inspired them. Your number 10 seed is The Suicide Squad by James Gunn. Mike, did you see both Suicide Squads?
I've seen both the Suicide Squad and Suicide Squad in theaters, Ryan, and I have to tell you, I don't think I've had 2 more disparate movie watching experiences.
I remember when you and I watched it the weekend it came out. So I watched it at home, you watched it in theaters, and then Cassie came over to record Superhero, and we were like, it was good. And she was like, shut the fuck up. There's no fucking way. You're lying.
I was so hurt by the first one. I still haven't watched this one. Every single person has told me this is a good one. My trust is shattered by that first one.
Different people are involved in making it, Cassie. That has
it has
to
the
matter.
Same name. I don't care. They need to do a different name.
No, there's no the in the first one.
Also, Cassie, we have shown you a like rat-like creature that is me.
He's delightful, and I want him to exist.
Oh
only in
shit,
my mind.
that is
Yeah,
Weasel.
it's me, the weasel. That's me. The way he's like, that's me.
She did the arms.
He makes all your same noises, Caitlin. That's crazy.
He eats
The
like
Suicide
me.
Squad-
He is me.
The Suicide Squad might have been like hands down the most fun I had watching any movie. You don't feel great about it all the time, especially when it's like when the comedy just is terrible things happening to people. But like, I don't think beginning to end, I had more fun watching any movie than The Suicide Squad.
Also, you realize you're laughing at Chinese robot John Cena? That's weird.
I am so sorry that I intimated that Taiwan was a country. Oh my god, how could I do that?
And no, my house looks like a hostage film. I didn't set this up just for this. It already looks like it.
I speak perfect Mandarin. Did anybody know that?
All right, Suicide Squad was pretty good, but it's going up against the number 7 seed, West Side Story, Steven Spielberg's reinterpretation of one of the greatest musicals of all time. That one won, I think, 10 Oscars. This one could win them as well. It's getting shit on because nobody saw it, but you guys didn't see it, and fuck you. You're scared of COVID? Fuck you. This is an amazing, amazing Steven Spielberg musical.
I only risk COVID for Flights and Tights, Ryan, clearly from the movies I've seen. I love to keep it cool, boy. I love to keep it like a rocket in my pocket. I fucking love West Side Story. I'm very excited for when this hits a streaming service.
I cannot believe all of the ways that this is a great movie, and then, in addition, all of the ways that this is a better movie than the original.
Whoa!
This is an astonishing piece.
I'm going to hazard a guess that in our Lord's year 2021 that there's a lot less brown face in this one than in the original.
There's a lot less brown face. Also, I did not watch this. Steven Spielberg is on Greg's director's team. But
Yeah, of course.
I sat outside the theater, and my wife said Greg would have liked it. And that's all I need.
I'm so like excited for Stevie Spiels. Like,
I know.
Because it kind of felt like maybe all the glory had passed, but everything I'm hearing about this movie by fans of musicals, and that's like the most important demo for this, obviously, are the kind of raves that you just gave us, Ryan.
And we all, it's what we wanted when we all ran back and saw In the Heights. We were like, theaters are back! And it was good. It was, as Mike would say, whelming. But this is what we wanted. This movie is
I liked
it.
In the Heights. It was fun.
All right. This is a great movie versus a comic book movie, so I have no idea how this is going to go. But, Greg, we're going to start with you. West Side Story versus Suicide Squad.
I only have what you're saying to go by, Ryan, but I take your opinion of musicals very seriously, so I'm going to say West Side Story.
Thanks, bud. Mike?
I Want to Live in America. West Side Story.
McKenna?
I am very excited to see West Side Story. However, I'm a dum-dum who likes to laugh, so Suicide Squad.
Caitlin?
Team Jum Jum and Suicide Squad.
Cassie, come on, baby.
Cassie. Musicals are the good weasel.
What do I
Think
do
about a
here?
big
It's
old...
Suicide Squad, Cassie. It's
Cassie.
Suicide Squad.
Cassie.
Remember, you
This one
No.
won't break
don't
your
even want
heart.
to watch that.
No, because you know what? Fuck it. Suicide Squad is what I'm voting for.
Monster.
And that makes it 3-3, but I'm the host, so West Side Story moves on.
Nice.
All right.
Gotta love thumbing the scale.
Does anybody know what the number 3 seed Drive My Car is?
No,
Is it
I
the
don't.
sequel to Drive?
Okay, so Greg, do you know what Uncle Vanya is?
Yeah, so the play?
Yes. Do you know anything
Gosh.
about it?
No, that's like that's like the periphery of my memory. I feel like I studied it when I took the GRE.
So this guy is directing a play, Uncle Vanya. I think Chekhov's Uncle Vanya, and
Save that, Chekhov.
going through life and then trying to direct it in a new city. But he has to have somebody drive him around. So he is driven around in his car by somebody else while he is directing this play. And then I think his life becomes Uncle Vanya. I already know this movie's going to lose, so I'm not even fucking trying to explain it here. And whatever connections between the play and his real life, they start to intermingle. And this movie is 3 hours long.
You lost the selling point at the end there.
And I watched it, and I loved every fucking second of it. It
Oh, there you
is a magical movie. But it's against Encanto, a literally magic movie. So, does anybody else want to fight for Drive My Car here?
That sounded really dope.
I mean, it sounds
I
really
li-
cool.
I liked your description of it. Encanto was so fun, though.
And it's a Japanese film, yes, Ryan?
It is a Japanese film, yes. Mike, thank you.
Which means it's going to be cool and interesting and have a different vibe than even American indie films.
Yes. Are you reading
I'm
all
trying.
this?
I think I'm trying. What?
Look, I sort of like sealed the fate when I put Encanto against it. You know, Drive My Car is doing this thing where it's like destroying critics' lists, but it's just not going to get any of the awards because it's a 3 hour. I mean,
The crushed it can.
the guy sits in his car for most of the movie. All right, let's go. Cassie, Encanto or Drive My Car?
Sorry, Ryan Encanto.
Kaylin,
Encanto.
McKenna,
Encanto.
Mike.
I love Encanto, but I wonder, like, can it sustain a full movie of the year episode? I'm going to vote for Drive My Car.
Holy shit, Greg.
Yeah, I think I'm more interested in Drive My Car than I am in Encanto. I wanted to go with Encanto, but honestly, everything you said about Drive My Car made it sound like the kind of movie we love to talk about.
Because I'm the host, Drive My Car moves on to the next round.
Yeah.
Animated. Out.
All right, and your final battle for the film bracket is your number 6 seed, Black Widow, which nobody loved.
It's one of the worst Marvel things that came out this year.
And I want to talk.
Did you see Eternals?
Did you see?
I said
Eternal?
one of.
I want to talk about number 11, Summer of Soul, which is a movie directed, or a documentary, and we usually don't have documentaries on here, but it was directed by drummer of the Roots.
Questlove.
Questlove directed this thing that was going on at about the same time as Woodstock, but it was all black artists. And it was this concert and what it meant to the city and the time and the people. And listening to the people who were there at the show saying we looked like around us and we had never seen that many black people before in one place, and like how moving that was. They show footage of the concert to the people who were at the concert. Like,
Yeah.
we are the dawning of the age of the fifth dimension played there, and they show them that, and they're like, I can't believe that. Like, just watching them watch themselves was a crazy moment. I think this is one of the best documentaries I've literally ever seen in my life. But it is a doc, and I understand that that's crazy, and it's going up against ScarJo.
Yeah, but nobody really liked Black Widow. I mean, like, I didn't hate it, but it was just, it's serviceable.
Right.
And it's not
now-
really exciting or very interesting, really.
I'm like struggling to remember the plot. Like even now, like it's just not.
But no, think about the bad guy of Black Widow. He was this guy who did what?
Tasks?
had like the serum or whatever. He was making.
Yeah, he had the serum.
Making the widows.
He was making the widows. Okay. The one good thing we could say about Black Widow is it was a woman superhero movie, and they didn't hang their hat on it. They just let it be a woman superhero movie.
But
and
the
for that
woman-
part, thank you.
The most cockney Russian bad guy
Hello
was
now, man.
harassing women to get them under his thumb.
It was a female-led movie, but it's not ScarJo. It's Florence Pugh. That's why we talk
Yes.
about this movie.
Pew,
Pew is-
pew.
yes.
And she's great
So
in
good.
it.
She's very good. I even liked the dynamic of like the Russian family that they had. That was fun.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it like I hated Eternals, but it wasn't like my favorite because I mean there was Spider-Man and
It's
Shang-Chi
mid-tier
this year.
Marvel.
It's mid-tier Marvel.
It's still fun.
Yeah.
But Summer of Soul is amazing, and it also covers what America was like in the late '60s, what music was like. Apparently, I didn't know until watching this documentary, and nobody brings it up, but apparently, like sombreros were really big in like Harlem in 1969. Half the people
Like-
are wearing fringe and sombreros. It's
Now
rad.
they're much smaller. But
Greg,
back
sombreros
then
have
they were
always
like,
been very big.
Let me tell you about my best friend.
Okay, but it does freak me out to bring a doc in the next round. So we'll see what happens. I just noticed, Greg, that you saw Summer of Soul. I'm so glad. Like,
Yeah.
it's a movie that you can watch a million times because it serves as both movie and album. Like, you can watch it and get into it and hear the stories of the people, and then put it on when you're cleaning. And
Yeah.
it's the best music from any documentary I've ever seen.
And the thing that you talked about of where they show people footage from the concert, and they're like, in their 60s and 70s now, and they watch themselves, and you don't really see the footage at the same time. You just see their faces.
Yeah.
And the way they light up when they see this old footage is really beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen that in a documentary before, but it's really nice.
And you realize that nobody is turned on by anything other than or more than their younger selves. Every time people are like, damn, look at me. All right, Greg, Summer of Soul or Black Widow?
Summer Soul.
Michael?
SOS.
McKenna?
I'm very excited to watch this. It's Summer of Soul.
Caitlin?
Let's go, woman. It's Black Widow.
Lots of women featured in Summer of Soul. Like, really,
True, very true. Yeah.
the main point. But Cassie?
I wanted to see Summer of Soul, and I still want to, so Summer of Soul.
Summer of Soul moves on. Which means that your final 8 for the show that will take place at some point in February, probably, are Power of the Dog, Red Rocket, Spider-Man No Way Home. We got a Spider-Man movie in there, guys.
Hell yeah.
Licorice Pizza, Pig, West Side Story, Drive My Car, what the fuck, and Summer of Soul. An amazing list. We did a good job.
We should probably just do a whole season.
I
of
think
it,
we
guys.
kind of movie of the year this one.
When we come back, Greg is going to take the reins, and we're going to go through the TV comedies of the year.
Thank you, Ryan. Greg here. But you know what? We have just already done too much show here. We've covered all the best albums and all the best movies. And so we are going to take a short break here, take a couple days off, cool down. And when we come back, we will attack TV comedies and TV dramas. So watch the feed for a bonus episode coming out in just a couple of days.